There's a specific type of person that toxic people won't even approach. They'll scan a room, make eye contact with you, and immediately look away. Not because you're intimidating or mean, but because something in your energy tells them, this one won't work. You know that person who never seems to deal with drama? Who doesn't attract narcissists, manipulators, or energy vampires? They're not lucky. They're not blessed with better judgment. They've become energetically unavailable to toxicity. And here's what changes everything. You can become that person too. Not by building walls or becoming cold, but by developing an internal frequency that toxic people instinctively avoid. Let me show you exactly how. Here's the truth most people won't tell you. Toxic people don't randomly select their targets. They're sophisticated emotional predators, and they're looking for specific psychological signatures that signal exploitable. Right now, you're broadcasting one of those signatures. Maybe several. And I need you to understand something critical. This isn't about being weak or flawed. You're not attracting toxic people because there's something wrong with you. You're attracting them because you have qualities they want to consume. Empathy, generosity, the capacity to see potential in others. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Those beautiful qualities have been packaged with vulnerabilities that make you visible to the wrong people. You've essentially been walking around with an invisible sign that says, I'll tolerate behavior that others won't. The good news? You can keep your empathy, your kindness, your generous spirit, and become completely unattractive to toxic people. You just need to change the packaging. Let me break down exactly what makes someone invisible to toxic people. Because once you understand these patterns, you can embody them. Pattern number 1. Immediate boundary enforcement. People who repel toxicity don't negotiate their boundaries. They don't explain them, justify them, or apologize for them. They simply state and enforce. When someone crosses a line, there's no 3 strikes rule. There's no, let me give them one more chance. There's immediate, calm, non-negotiable consequence. Watch what happens. A toxic person makes a subtle dig. The person who repels toxicity doesn't laugh it off or minimize it. They pause, make direct eye contact, and say something like, that's not how we talk to each other. Then they move on. No emotion, no drama, just a clear line drawn in the sand. Toxic people feel this immediately. It triggers their internal alarm. This person won't tolerate my games. And they move on to easier targets. Pattern number 2. Comfortable with disappointing people. Here's what toxic people can sense from across the room. Your fear of disappointing others. They can smell people-pleasing like sharks smell blood and water. People who are invisible to toxicity have made peace with something revolutionary. They're willing to be the villain in someone else's story. Someone asks them for something unreasonable. They say no. The person gets upset, and instead of rushing to fix it, explain themselves, or modify their boundary to restore peace, they let the person be upset. This is what toxic people can't work with. Their entire playbook depends on your fear of negative emotions, yours and theirs. When you're genuinely okay with someone being disappointed, angry, or upset, their manipulation tactics have nowhere to land. Pattern number 3. 0 explanations for personal decisions. This is the pattern that makes you truly untouchable. You stop justifying your choices. Toxic people thrive on your explanations because explanations are negotiation entry points. Every reason you give them is an opportunity to argue, undermine, or guilt you out of your decision. People who repel toxicity have mastered a radical skill. They state their decision and stop talking.
I'm not available that day. That doesn't work for me. I've decided not to do that. No because. No elaborate justification. No defense of their right to their own life. And when the toxic person pushes for an explanation, because they always do, these people simply repeat their statement or say something like, I don't need to explain my personal choices.
Toxic people hate this. They need your explanations to find weak spots, to make you doubt yourself, to turn your own reasoning against you. When you refuse to provide ammunition, they can't engage. So they don't. If these patterns are clicking for you right now, if you're thinking, I wish someone had explained this to me years ago, that's exactly why I create this content every week. I break down the psychological dynamics that most people never see, the invisible patterns that determine whether you attract healthy relationships or toxic ones. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss insights like these. Because understanding how toxic people operate, that's not just intellectual knowledge. That's the practical wisdom that changes who shows up in your life. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready to keep learning how to protect your peace and build relationships that actually serve you. Pattern number 4. They value peace over being right. Here's a pattern most people miss. People who repel toxicity don't engage in circular arguments. They don't need to prove they're right, win the debate, or have the last word. Toxic people need engagement. They feed on conflict, on your emotional reactions, on the drama of back and forth. When they can't get you to engage, they starve.
I see it differently, or we're not going to agree on this, and exit the conversation.
This drives toxic people crazy because they can't hook you. And after 1 or 2 failed attempts, they learn, this person won't give me the drama I need, so they stop trying. Pattern number 5. They trust their gut immediately. People who are invisible to toxic people have developed an unshakable relationship with their intuition. When something feels off, they don't talk themselves out of it. They don't give benefit of the doubt. They don't wait for proof. They trust the feeling and act on it immediately. Someone makes them uncomfortable in a first interaction. Instead of thinking, maybe I'm being judgmental or I should give them a chance, they simply distance themselves. No explanation needed. No guilt required. Toxic people rely heavily on your self-doubt. They count on you dismissing your instincts, giving them chances they haven't earned, waiting for their behavior to prove what your gut already knew. When you become someone who trusts your initial read and acts on it without apology, toxic people can't get close enough to do damage. So why does this work on such a deep level? Why do toxic people automatically avoid these patterns? Here's the psychology. Toxic people are efficiency-seeking predators. They're not interested in difficult targets. They want the maximum emotional supply with minimum effort and risk. Think about it from their perspective. They're scanning for people who will tolerate disrespect to keep the peace, doubt their own perceptions, provide endless explanations they can pick apart, fear disappointing others more than betraying themselves, and engage in drama and circular arguments. When they encounter someone who doesn't fit this profile, their unconscious brain does a cost-benefit analysis in milliseconds and concludes, too much work, not worth it. There's also a neurological component here. Toxic people, especially narcissists and manipulators, have what psychologists call a highly attuned exploitation detector. They've spent their lives studying human behavior to find weak spots. But that same detector also identifies people who won't be vulnerable to their tactics. When you enforce boundaries immediately, they recognize this person has consequences. When you're comfortable disappointing people, they sense, I can't guilt them. When you don't explain yourself, they realize, I can't argue them out of their decisions. Each of these patterns sends a signal to their unconscious. Danger. This person will cost me more energy than I'll extract from them. And toxic people, above all, avoid anything that costs them more than it benefits them. Before we talk about how to embody these patterns, I need you to release something. The belief that you've been doing something wrong. If toxic people have been finding you, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're adaptive. At some point, probably in childhood, you learned that being accommodating, understanding, flexible with your boundaries, and afraid of disappointing people kept you safe or earned you love. Those adaptations made perfect sense then. They protected you in an environment where you didn't have power. But you're not in that environment anymore. And the skills that helped you survive dysfunctional relationships as a child are now making you visible to dysfunctional people as an adult. You don't need to become hard. You don't need to lose your empathy or your ability to see good in people. You're not going to transform into someone cold or closed off. You're simply going to become someone who extends those gifts selectively to people who've earned them, not to anyone who asks for them. That's not cruel. That's wise. All right, let's make this practical. Here's exactly how to become the person toxic people automatically avoid. Step 1. Practice immediate micro-boundaries. Start small. This week, When someone says something that feels even slightly off to you, address it in the moment. Not aggressively, just clearly. Someone makes a joke at your expense. I don't find that funny. Someone asks an invasive question. I don't share that information. Someone pressures you for an immediate answer. I need time to think about it. Your nervous system will scream at you that you're being rude. You're not. You're being clear, and toxic people will feel the difference immediately. Step 2. Remove because from your vocabulary. For the next 2 weeks, practice saying no without explaining why. Watch your impulse to justify, defend, or provide reasons. Notice it, then don't do it. Can you do this favor? No, I'm not available. If they push, why not? It doesn't work for me. That's it. You're not being difficult. You're refusing to provide negotiation material, and this single shift will make you instantly less attractive to manipulative people. Step 3. Exit conversations that don't serve you. Practice leaving, not dramatically, not in anger, just leaving. When someone starts a circular argument, say, "We're going to have to agree to disagree on this," and walk away. When someone keeps crossing boundaries after you've addressed it, "I'm ending this conversation now," and do it. When someone's energy feels draining, "I need to go," and go. You don't need a good reason. You don't need their permission. Your discomfort is reason enough. Step 4. Validate your own perceptions. Start a practice of trusting yourself. When something feels off about someone, don't dismiss it. Write it down. Honor it. Create a simple rule. If my gut says something is wrong, I act as if it's wrong until proven otherwise. Not the other way around. This is the opposite of what most of us were taught. We were trained to give people the benefit of the doubt, to not judge, to wait for evidence. But your intuition is evidence. It's pattern recognition happening faster than conscious thought. Trust it. Toxic people will sense that you trust yourself, and they'll know they can't gaslight you. Step 5. Get comfortable with being misunderstood. This is the advanced work. Practice being okay with people thinking you're difficult, cold, or unfriendly. Someone calls you selfish for having boundaries. Let them think that. Someone says you're not the person they thought you were because you won't tolerate their behavior. Good. Someone tells mutual friends you've changed. Perfect. When you need everyone to understand and approve of you, toxic people own you. When you can be at peace with being misunderstood, you're free. So what happens when you become this person? When toxic people start avoiding you automatically? First, there's space. Suddenly you're not constantly managing other people's emotions, defending your boundaries, or recovering from interactions that leave you drained. You have energy again. Mental bandwidth, emotional capacity. Second, the right people start appearing. When you're no longer broadcasting, "I'll tolerate anything," you start attracting people who value boundaries, who respect your time, who bring reciprocity to relationships. You'll notice that conflicts resolve quickly because healthy people don't need endless circular arguments. You'll notice that friendships feel lighter because you're not carrying anyone else's emotional weight. You'll notice that your relationships have space for joy because they're not consumed by drama. Third, you develop an unshakable sense of self. When you stop explaining, justifying, and people-pleasing, you discover who you actually are underneath all that performance. And that person, they're solid. Grounded, not easily moved by others' opinions or manipulations. You'll walk into rooms differently, not arrogant, not closed off, but anchored, and toxic people will sense it immediately. They'll look at you, feel that you're not available for their games, and move on to someone else. If you've made it this far in the video, you're ready for real change. You've just invested over 10 minutes in understanding how to fundamentally shift who you attract into your life. That's not passive learning, that's active transformation. Subscribe to this channel because every single week, I break down the psychological patterns that most people never see. This community, we're all recovering people pleasers, former doormats, and ex-drama magnets who are learning together how to honor ourselves without apology. We're done being accessible to everyone and becoming selectively available to people who actually value us. Join us. You belong here. Hit that subscribe button and become part of a community that's committed to building lives where peace is the default, not the exception. Here's your challenge for this week. Pick one micro-boundary and enforce it immediately. Just one. Someone says something that bothers you? Address it in the moment. Someone asks you to explain a personal choice? Practice saying, "It doesn't work for me," without the "because." Someone tries to pull you into drama? Exit the conversation. Just one boundary. Enforced immediately. No explanation. No apology. You deserve relationships where your energy is honored, not exploited. You deserve to walk through life without constantly bracing for the next manipulative person. You deserve peace that doesn't require constant vigilance. You're not becoming cold. You're becoming unavailable to people who don't deserve access to you. And that's not selfish. That's self-preservation. As you practice these shifts, I'll be here every week with insights to support your growth. Subscribe if you're committed to this transformation. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that they're allowed to be unavailable to toxicity. Drop a comment and tell me which pattern you're going to implement first. I read every single one. Toxic people will avoid you automatically when you become someone who values your peace more than their approval. Now go become that person.